Hi guys, we are back again on Build with Mel show. As you know that these shows are about talking about how someone can scale their business or build a new business as well. So it's Build with Mel for that reason. Today I am joined with Naren. He has a really cool company and it really caught my eye because I get so many applications of so many people wanting to come on the show. So I see some applications and it just really, I think he's got something really unique on the market, and it's a waste management company where he provides a service to a number of manufacturing companies or any companies that have a lot of waste, and he helps you deal with waste in a proper way. And he caught my eye because I have worked with manufacturers during my banking career, and I saw that waste was a really big problem for them. And them not being a specialist in waste, you usually don't know what to do with waste. So I'm really happy to actually chat more to Naren because it's what he's doing is so unique from some of the other founders that have come on the show to date. He's in a scale-up stage. His contracts are a lot more bigger. And I guess I love to bring different types of founders because you get to see someone that's much more, progress, and then someone that's more in earlier stages, and you can see how, and he's a B2B, and we've seen a lot of B2C as to date. So it's kind of exciting for me to have such varied level and diverse level of founders and companies coming on the show, so you can actually see how I would advise them differently. So Naren, what I will do is just hand over to you and let you just quickly introduce your company and why did you start this company, and where did your passion for waste, and just tell us a little bit about your background before we move on to actually talking about strategy.
Yeah, no, thanks, Mel, and I'm also excited to be on the show today, and really looking forward to learning with you. So we are Ardea Waste. So we started Ardea Waste under the underlying problem that waste is a global problem, and often businesses are the commercial waste is the most produced waste in the market, and only 50% of that gets recycled. And we still send 50% of the waste away to the landfill, and that's close to a 50-story building, a size of a 50-story building, thrown away every week. And that was quite appealing for us. And we said, well, this is not good for our environment, and what do we do? And then when we started looking at our customers and asking some questions around, why were they not doing the right thing? They said, well, they just didn't have the time. It was not their core task, and it was too expensive, and there was a lot of compliance and regulatory requirements to deal with. So our business solves all that problem in one place. So we come in, we just get them to tell us what their waste is, and then we deal with it for them from end to end. And our primary focus is finding a sustainable and environmentally, safe solution that is legal and compliant.
Okay, if you could describe in one line, what is your mission? What would you say?
Well, making sustainable waste management easy for businesses.
And I liked how when we were speaking earlier, you said your goal is to be the Google for waste. I really love that because I think it's such a strong branding exercise when you say that, because it really resonates. And I would love for you to say that more, because it just straight away I can see where you're going with this. And I really love that. And it really caught my eye when you shared that with me.
Yeah, so we're building a big database of waste services in the back end. So basically, the tagline of Google for Waste comes from that, is that we can get and find a solution for a customer once they define their waste in a very quick and efficient manner. So that's why we thought, okay, if you go to Google, often we go to Google for information and you find it and you're happy with it. And we thought there should be some similar service for waste, and that's how this whole thing was formed.
Amazing. Tell me, so right now, so you're in scale up stage right now where you are ready to be able to take on more clients and scale rapidly. So what kind of strategies have you tried thus far to get your brand out there and into, the hands of the right business?
Yeah. So currently, the strategies we are following is one is a direct sales strategy, which is quite common with any business, is where we do door knocking and we talk to customers or businesses that we can go and approach. And the other approach we've taken in the last 1 year is partnering with channel partners. So industry groups, council groups, and organizations that bring a group of businesses together in one place. So we go and represent ourselves in front of them so we can then offer our services. And then we've had some good success with some of the industry groups that we have recently joined, where we're getting a lot of inquiries and revenue through that process. So the channel partner is one of that. But at the same time, there's a lot of business that we still could approach, and we've been trying Google AdWords. Given us some results. We've tried Facebook. It's given us a little bit of results, but not too much. And then we thought, okay, LinkedIn has been the best one, because all our key target customers and the people that we want to approach in the businesses are in LinkedIn. But then how do we effectively target them? And then how do we effectively get their interest to say that, okay, well, we can solve their problem?
Absolutely.
And that's the phase we are at, and trying to leverage on LinkedIn as much as possible is what we're focusing on.
Absolutely. I think the win platform would be absolutely LinkedIn for you. I don't think Facebook is the right platform. So Facebook is really a B2B, it's a consumer platform, and even look at how the targeting works on Facebook. It's like very much about consumer activities, because you're doing consumer activities when you're on there. You're consuming content that is like, I'm consuming like Kim Kardashian all day on there, but you don't have any idea what kind of business content that I'm really interested in, because I wouldn't really go to Facebook to consume that, or nor would I really go on Facebook to meet someone that's going to be able to really advise me properly and professionally in business. I think, and even if they were all there on Facebook, the content that you would share on that channel is not really, a business orientated. It's like, at this event, so then it becomes hard for Facebook to actually then collect data points because if you're not sharing data points about where you're working or what you're actually up to, it becomes hard for Facebook then to help you with targeting those ads, because they don't have the data points. And I keep my LinkedIn professionally more updated than my Facebook. It's just, you're like, oh, it doesn't really matter over there. So I think so Facebook might not deliver in a meaningful way for you, in a way of actually lead generating at the top of the funnel. So when I talk about the top of the funnel now is, okay, how do we go and reach out to the right people, which is a platform that we can go up there. And then you can actually go lower, and you can touch them potentially on Facebook if you can get a personal email. But maybe it's a later on strategy if you really needed to like re-engage them. And you think about Google, I don't know if businesses particularly go on Google to make that decision. Businesses make decisions on relationships, and so it becomes really important with B2B. It's like a couple of meetups, couple of communication, because waste management company can look up, but a bigger company, they probably already have someone in there, and you want to now take that relationship from them. Maybe it's not working. Right? So they're probably not in search, but you're looking for people that are like looking for that option, but they're probably not going to go on Google because they're like busy growing their business, and waste is probably already taken care of, and they're probably the customers that you want to approach. Am I assuming, or am I sort of correct?
You're sort of right in most of it. But the only reason why we thought we would play in Google is because there's a lot of tricky waste business produce that often they don't have a solution, and people just go in and type and try and find a solution for it and say, can Google tell us the relevant companies that would deal with it? And that's why we wanted to be higher in the ranking with Google. When someone says we're dealing with a tricky liquid waste or tricky chemical or whatever, that they would when they put that word in there, that we would come up higher in the ranking, so they can then be directed to our platform. That was the only reason why we were focusing on Google. But in general, you're right, is they're set in their relationships. You have the big players in the market that help them with the waste management, and if they need anything, they just would phone them and say, well, can you deal with this waste, is what they would normally ask.
Absolutely. So I think it comes to LinkedIn, and I think LinkedIn is the channel, absolutely. And it's about how now you can actually deal in LinkedIn in an effective way. And I love LinkedIn, so I'm really glad we're having this LinkedIn conversation. So have you used Sales Navigator in LinkedIn as yet?
Not yet. No.
Okay. So everything about LinkedIn starts with Sales Navigator. Okay. So you
Okay.
have to be paying for Sales Navigator. I think it's about $79 a month or something like that, or $99. I'm not sure, but that's the crux. That's where it all starts. Okay. So I'm doing LinkedIn marketing for them. In order to do LinkedIn marketing for them as a company or for you as a brand, it all starts with you having a LinkedIn Sales Navigator account. No professional LinkedIn agency would deal with an account if you don't have
Okay.
premium Sales Navigator. So it's not just premium, it's the Sales Navigator tool.
Okay.
Sales Navigator tool, what it does is it's a database of all the people in LinkedIn. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you then go by the actual job title that you're targeting, narrow down all the people in Perth that have a specific job title. So you have to be very clear who you want to talk to. Is it the CEO of,
Yeah.
then you can actually go and choose manufacturing as an industry.
Mm.
So you get to
Okay.
be that specific in Sales Navigator that I want to go and target all the manufacturing industry. And I want to go target everyone in the manufacturing industry that has the job title of CEO or it has the job title of operations, chief operations manager.
Yeah.
And then you get down to this list of people who are on LinkedIn who are potentially in Perth. It might be where you start. I always say start local. There'll be a lot of people who, come up as manufacturing. So now you've got, you might come up and you might see that there's like 1,500 people. And so LinkedIn has now done a really nice job in coming and like putting the list together for you.
Yeah.
It's the strategy from here about how to approach. Okay. And so there's a couple of ways.
Mm-hmm.
After you've narrowed down this list, what could potentially happen is these guys don't use LinkedIn. We don't know if your list of people are actually active on LinkedIn. So I've had cases where I've gone and narrowed down 1,000 people and I'm like, I'm so happy. I've got like 1,000 dentists I'm going to target. Dentists don't use LinkedIn, by the way, FYI.
Yeah.
That was a learning.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
They don't use it. They're all probably sitting on Facebook over there still. It's that traffic. It's above that 36 and above, and they're probably over there. So I'm like trying to connect with these dentists and going, like, hello, I'm here, and they're just not here. So it could be the same for you, that they're not active, or it could be the opposite for you, where I've had fantastic results in other cases where they are active and they are professional people that are using LinkedIn. So see how I go, if there's two cases right now.
Yeah.
If we go down the journey of the fact that, yes, they are an active group on LinkedIn, the way I work that is I set up connects. I connect with them. Now, that can be through automation or, and I usually set up automation and automated connects some people use VAs, okay, because that's what they want to do. But for me, company, we do auto connects. Okay, so there's
how is that tools for auto connections, or is that done through Sales Navigator itself?
No. LinkedIn doesn't want you to do automation, FYI.
Okay, right.
I can't interpret this video that we're all having live yet, but they don't like automation tools, so that's why people use VAs. They don't even want anyone to be on your account, doing that. So what happens is, yes, but there's plenty of tools out there. There's DuckSoup, LinkedIn Helper. There's lots of tools. I advise you guys, like, engage with a professional agency at your level, like, to manage that for you. Like, if you try and do this tools yourself, you can get blocked if you don't know the limits and the right tools. Like, we use the most expensive tools in the market, but just at your level, I think you're dealing with some really professional companies. But yes, lots of people have this active connect set up. Now, connecting with people is easy. It's no brainer. A lot of people can do that. And so you start connecting, It's actually a connect and it's a message. When you know how you receive connect and goes, hi, blah, blah, blah. I want to connect with you, blah, blah, blah. The content of that connection is either going to make it or break it for you. So the content of why you decided to connect. And so it's really presenting strongly that, I came across your profile. I saw that, you're running a manufacturing business. I wanted to connect. And it has to be very short, that first message, very short, sort of like almost 2 sentences. Some people write their whole life story. LinkedIn actually allows you to do 50 to 100 characters on your first. So that I always think is a strategy game of why you're connecting and why they would even accept that. Once the connection is accepted, people go accept. They don't have an opportunity to, if you realize, to message you right then and there. It goes away. When you accept, it's not like something pops up for you. Go, okay, connected, and you move on with your life. So the fact they connected, that was their message back to you. That yes, okay, I'm kind of interested. I'm in to connecting with you. It doesn't mean I'm going to buy from you. In these tools, what happens is you hit them up again. In my strategy wise, I never hit up someone until 5 days has passed, because it's unnatural to, as soon as they connect, start hitting them again. It's really about timing and being, it's like if you had coffee with someone, you're not going to go call them the next day. Like if you're starting to get to know them, right? So it's this really nice amount of time. I always give myself 4 days, 5 days before the outreach is done again. And at that point, I actually introduce myself. This is me. This is what I'm about. I'd love to know about some of your like for you, it's like very obvious. Like, hey, I'm connecting with you. I'm really into waste management, and I'm trying to become, a real major player in waste. That's why I connected with you. I'm not sure how you're dealing with waste at the moment, but I'd love to have a chat to see, if waste is something that is on your mind currently. I'm pretty direct, and it's about your character, but it's like, in waste. Are they interested in waste? Do you want to have an early chat? We've already targeted this niche people very well. Like, we always clean the list of the data. Like, we look through all 1,000 or 1,500 people, make sure they are our exact niche that we're looking for. So at that point, they might not hit you back, right? They might hit you back and say something. If they don't hit you back, there's another sequence set up 5 or 7 days later, like, hey, no worries, it seems you're busy. If you ever wanted to chat, I'm here, right? So you don't annoy them too much. You just kind of go. Now, you might think that lead has finished for you and the opportunity's gone. And this is where people are so wrong. The opportunity has just started. The relationship has just started. Because when you connected with them, you've just opened up the opportunity for them to see content from you. Okay, so you've got to see that that they connected with you. Your profile looked like a normal person, looked interesting. Like it has the banner. Like if you look at my LinkedIn, it's like kind of like if most people will connect with me because I put my brand in a way that I'm a legitimate, authentic person. So in the same way, if they saw that, they would have like connected with you definitely. But now that you've got an opportunity to show them how passionate you are about waste management and how you are changing the game in waste. So you've done all this connect and message, and that's just one part of the game. The true part is how are you going to be a brand player and in their mind as a brand player, and what kind of mind frame are you going to create around yourself that now that you have connected, that this is what you're doing and this is what you believe that's happening in waste, and how are you the waste expertise in Australia, or that's of actually winning and winning really well.
That's right.
So all these great people you've connected to that are absolutely your market strategy, but are you now convincing them that you are the choice? And when they are ready, because they might not be ready when you connected with them, they might be absolutely fine in waste right now, but it could be in 7 months they have a need. Are you going to be there to serve the content? Are you going to be at the front of mind? Because you don't have time to connect with anyone for coffee, and no one is meeting anyone for coffee anymore. So it comes back to are you going to use the next 6 to 7 months while you're connected to them to make sure that you serve them content that makes your waste expertise?
Yeah.
So that's the game of LinkedIn that people have to play. Some people are only playing one game, which is the message and connect, and thinking I'm doing so well. The strategy also behind who you message and connect with has to be super strong. Like, I understand that, that industry, like I want to play into this. Why? Because there could be industries that you're not finding there because you don't understand how they have categorized industry. LinkedIn has categorized industry. So that's why I told you, go people with someone that understands LinkedIn and has played with it, because the data they sometimes serve up on the list is not accurate. It's content play, and then it all becomes about content strategy. Like, what content are you sharing? What success stories are you sharing? And the same success stories you're sharing on your LinkedIn, you probably want to be mimicking over on your website as well, because you'll get the SEO rank. You won't have to spend all this time on Google ads if you can target some of those keywords that you were talking about earlier. But your success stories are shared on Google, and they should be mimicked on the website. So I'm regularly post about your passion about waste, where it started from, and then the success of your clients that you're delivering value to, and how you are new to the market and you are different, and how you guys are different, and how you're serving maybe at a faster pace than other people and older companies, and how you've got new thinking. That content has to be served at least 2 to 3 times a week.
Okay, all right, that's quite frequent.
So
what's your view on? Obviously, you have your LinkedIn profile, which is your personal profile, and then you have the business page for LinkedIn. And which is the best? I mean, obviously, your business page will only have followers, and you need to grow the following. But then you already have a big network of connection that is in your own profile. So where do you really start with your posting? Like, in terms of, do you post it there and share it here, or do you post it here and share it there?
Your personal self. And you're the company's, if you have a look at your news feed, how many times do you see companies' posts coming up on your news feed as opposed to your colleagues?
It's probably. No, I haven't seen much.
So that's the answer to your question. Like, you don't see it much because LinkedIn's not caring about it much. They don't relate to a company that they are to an individual at this point. So in terms of building up a company profile and posting stuff there, that people are going to go and click on you, then they're going to click on the company because they either want to work for you or they want to do business with you, and then we're going to go see other stuff. So it's going to be driven from you as to why they're going to go there, and your co-founders and the people in your company who are going to play the game. So not just obviously you, but it's everyone. But you have to start there. Someone has to be the brand of the company initially. So I'm saying that it should be you driving people to go on yours, because every time I went to your company site thing on LinkedIn, I went from your own page because I know you. And follow if you have some good content there as well. So the company content is separate, a little bit more different as well. We'll have the client success stories, but it will be written from a company perspective, not from I wanted to share this. That's we are proud of this. Does that make sense? The content, so the
that's right. Makes sense.
Everyone gets so overwhelmed because they want to do everything. I would start with yourself and improving that. Everything starts with you, yourself, your brand image, your content, and then that content just gets repurposed into the company and into the website when it makes sense. Right? So the same content can be reshared, but with separate captions and separate rewrites when it comes to So that was one condition when I told you on LinkedIn that if they are there and they're there, that's the way I would play it. And the hardest thing people find is they don't know what content to write to actually generate revenue. They start posting and they don't understand, like, is this content actually going to generate me revenue? And when I post content, I don't always post content to generate revenue. I post content to give insight about myself. Sometimes I post for branding, and sometimes I post to lead generate. So you have to have a mix of that as well. Really nice mix of, because why would people want to do business with you if they don't know who you are, they don't know you're ethical? So there's a lot of storytelling that happens within that, we can trust this company.
Okay,
and
makes sense. Yeah.
they have to have trust in B2B, because waste is it's a big issue, and there's compliance issues related to that they're sharing with you. So they do have to have trust in you.
Exactly.
That they're sharing with you as well.
Yeah.
So I think you've got to realize that this is it's a longer game, because they're bigger contracts. They're not making a $50 decision when they're coming with you. They're trying to choose something. So you've also got to play the long game of being really active and creating a brand for yourself digitally, and more than just the door knocking is great as well if you've got the capacity, but it can get expensive as well. And whereas this has huge amounts of reach. I mean, I'm telling you that you could connect with 500 people a week potentially.
Wow, okay.
So I don't think any door knocking could reach that rapid speed.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
No. So that's one thing, and it might just end there. But what happens at that point is, if you do that really well, you start having really regular meetings, and then you can bring in your sales BDMs that will take those meetings and they can establish and nurture those meetings. And there's ways to now get the list of people that have connected with you on LinkedIn to get their emails. They're professional. So we provide that as well as a next level service. And now you've got their email. So LinkedIn doesn't give everyone's emails to you. Okay. It's not, if you share it, then they can, but if you don't, then they can't. So there's actually email tools that we go, okay, this is the list of people, because there might be like a small group of people that you just need to talk to, right? But yours might, it's 1,000 people that we can do business with, and that's who we want to do business with. Now, how we're going to, if they don't see my content on LinkedIn, because I'm new on LinkedIn, I still want to get something out to them. So we might need to do an email strategy at the back of that, that they're getting some success stories, that the same ones you're sharing on LinkedIn, but they can get it in the email format as well. And business will just start coming as soon as you've got that nice rhythm content going from LinkedIn, content happening on an email, even if it's a once a month touch base. This is what happened from Naren. It's going to drive conversations. It's never going to happen in one day. Sales don't get closed in 1 or 2 emails, but over 7, 8 touch points. And those 7, 8 touch points might be created over 3, 4 months. They could be created over 6, 7 months. For some people, it's a longer decision point. You know that, right? That these are these are bigger businesses. But that when the sale happens, it's kind of those long lead times means millions of dollars. That's what I say. The longer lead times, and the shorter the lead times, they might be shorter the sales. So you might get lots of smaller ones at the beginning, but your bigger ones. But the same strategy, if you follow it, it does result. And it all comes down to the content you're sharing. So if you're just sharing emails that's not engaging, that's not well written, that's not educational, not insightful, not showing you guys as an expert and achievements, you're just not going to win. You're not. And then so content becomes really key in all aspects. Your strategy of what I just told you, I think would really work nicely, is that LinkedIn, connect, message, content, email sequence. A really nice funnel that's going over there. If these people you found out are not on this particular platform and they're not active on it, they're not accepting at all. You might go on this part and go, they're not on there. Then LinkedIn isn't potentially a platform for you. And it comes down to looking at the companies. So LinkedIn Navigator has this amazing tool which lets you just find names. So not the individuals, but companies that are in a particular industry. And it lets you then download those companies, and then you can actually get through the email tools, like, find an email for
Okay.
website, and you can get the emails, and then I would try to do an outreach strategy on email, like,
Okay.
hey, and again, that email list that you start with, again, has to be really strong content. Like, people don't want email. The subject line has to be really strong as to, hey, I just wanted to reach out. Hey, we're new in the waste management industry. We've had some good results. We're looking to, talk to XYZ. Response rate will be really low because it's like your first outreach. But think about like other content you could serve them up other than just trying to get them on the phone, as you would on LinkedIn. Maybe like, some every month, like, stuff that you can help them improve their waste management. They don't become a client of yours. You're kind of warming them up to want to talk to you at some point. And it could be that it's we call it 7-point sequencing of email. 7 sequences with all the emails having potential call to action of, let's book in a free 15-minute chat if you're free. If not, here are tips that are happening, here are all the trends. You kind of become an expert. So you're kind of serving content through email because you can't get to them on LinkedIn. And you've had to go identifying company, website, finding the emails of those websites and going through just email sequencing. So that's how I would honestly approach the two. So you have to trial the link to understand which way you go through.
All right. Because we found some of the small manufacturers, they often don't have a big presence in the social media. And unfortunately, those are the ones that have the growing problem, but at the same time, they're not very active in LinkedIn or. But interestingly, the person might have a profile in Facebook, because everybody has a profile on Facebook. So,
how do you find them on Facebook?
Well, at this stage, we don't have an effective way of finding them, so it's quite hard. So we then go through and we just pick an industry group. We find all the businesses in that industry group, do a door knocking, or try and find a way of connecting with them through our known contacts, and then try and lead generate. So that's more of an organic lead generation because it's more of a word of mouth.
Have you tried doing? Do these small manufacturers, are they on a directory of any sort, or are they on Google or anything like that? Like, if you searched a particular name, would they come up there?
They normally would come up on Google though, because they want to be known. But like there's few manufacturers we work with, because they have a long-standing customer relationship in their end, that they don't need to have any presence anywhere because they have a customer that's already giving them the work. And they've been just serving them, and they're a loyal customer, and they just keep working on that, and that was enough for them. They didn't want to grow any further. So we find those niche businesses too sometimes.
And how would you find? Because the reason I'm asking you is if they are on Yellow Pages directory, or if they are on Google, like small manufacturers in Berry or something like that, or if there's a way to find them, there is a way to then. Like, if there's a list that you can generate from Google, from a search, you can actually then get the data points, like, from Google using bots to actually get all the websites that are ranking for that particular keyword. And again, emails of those websites.
And what's the best place to look for that information though? Like, I'm always struggling to find, what's the most searched keyword in waste? How do we know that? And like, what's...
So that comes to search engine optimization is what you're talking about. So I use Ahrefs and SEMrush tools agencies would use, and we type in lots of keywords of we type in competitors, and then we look at what keywords are ranking for, and then we type in what we think, and we hypothesize, and then those two tools actually tell us, okay, these are the other keywords that you might not be aware of, so similar phrases. Then it tells us this is how many times it's searched every month. Then you can use those keywords then to find your manufacturers. So it could be manufacturers, or you could be wanting to know keywords for waste, for example. You don't know what your keywords are and what content you should be writing for your website, because you don't know like which keywords you need to inject and what you want to rank for without doing keyword research.
Well, that's
So
right.
that's
Yeah.
also really important for you.
Mm.
That what what is that, how did you do the Google ads if you didn't know the keywords? You just kind of picked from your top of your
Well,
mind what the keywords would be?
well, it was just yeah,
How
we had the like some credits with Google. We thought, okay, we'll just run a trial and see if it works, and that's how it started. And obviously we don't have a running campaign in Google now. It's just it was a trial, and then we finished it, and then we came out of it.
yeah.
And we're back to our the way that you just described, the LinkedIn way, which is find the contact, connect with them, and then try and set up a conversation with them, and then in the process we try and feed some educational materials on waste that would be helpful for businesses. So it's more
Yeah,
information on business waste. Yeah.
exactly. I mean, if you guys do this really well, and I don't know if you've teamed up with an agency, like I think that you should definitely team up with an agency like that can help you through it. If you're in Scalar,
Okay.
they can just speed you up. Like
Okay.
if you are really there, that you're really seeing this traction, you're going, okay, there's an opportunity here, and we and you can take on the demand of
Yeah. Okay.
getting filled. Because you doing it yourself, you might be 4 months, 5 months behind in
That's right.
figuring
Yeah.
it out. So I always say there's like, some people that are like that they can really accelerate their growth really quickly by going
Mm.
with just someone that already knows how the navigator system's working, knows all the nuances of, what's not going to work, what the data points are going to come back, knows how the email, situation needs to work. And it took me ages to put the right team together to even understand
Okay.
what's going on, from what has to happen in email and what has to happen here, and what's the tool that goes from here to here. I mean, how do I move, data points from LinkedIn to email? Like all that sort of nuances
Okay.
comes. And there's lots of points that we have to use external parties throughout to get data. It's just all about how do I access data, but then and what we're good at is like, and then how do I make people interested? Once
Yeah.
you've got
Yeah.
data, lots of people send so many annoying emails.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I would recommend that
Mm-hmm.
professionally onto your branding might
Yeah.
make you that much, like just might be able to make you win that, that much more bigger level of engagement and contract at the end of, of it all. So you're right. We don't. It's always like you kind of assume LinkedIn is there and you have to try it. Like I
Yeah.
always say,
Yeah.
really go, you think that they are there, but some of the bigger players will definitely be there. Like that's
Yeah. Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
those smaller players, and whether you kind of can find keywords and you can get to them through yellow pages or something like that. And then you can actually do, it's called data scraping, by the way. I was looking for
Okay.
so
Okay.
you data scrape Google, you data scrape yellow pages for particular keywords, and you find out who those players are. So it's all about, first you got to get to that list, because we were getting to that list over in LinkedIn, but then
Yeah.
we're saying we might be able to get to that list through Google.
Yeah.
We might be able to get to yellow pages. So there's some tactics, there's some tactics on
Okay.
how you get to your list, and then what you do next in terms of content. So yeah, I guess I'm helping you in a strategical, strategy.
Yes. Right. Yeah.
You're in a high level with that. And the technical part of the SEO I touched, if you watch my last show, I don't know if you saw, I actually went quite technical with finding keywords and what that means with Jared.
Okay.
So why keywords
We
is
watched that one. Yeah.
do watch that, because I actually took him through the tool. So
Okay.
so I think it must have been so boring for everyone, but if you are like quite interested in the SEO part of how you optimize your site to
Yeah.
rank organically, and what are your keywords and how do you know that, do watch the last Build with Mel show where I actually take him through.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Definitely will do. Yeah.
Naren,
Excellent.
any other questions that you have in your mind that you wanted to ask or get out of this session?
Well, apart from that, I think obviously we're doing a lot of. I mean, the content generation is one of the things that we are focusing on now, and doing a lot of that. Trying to do at least one post every 2 weeks, and and try and be more, I guess, educational on the content, so it helps them with some information, and then divert them from the content into our website to then find a way of lead generation. And yeah, we're doing this currently at this moment, but then brand recognition is where we're really finding it hard. Like, how do we resonate and make our brand recognized? And I guess maybe doing all this sequence of things will help with brand recognition. So once we start doing all these posting and email marketing and all of that, it'll put them in front of we'll be in front of them most of the time. So then they will recognize who we are, what we do, and what we stand for, and
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
and hopefully that will take us to the next level. But apart from that, yeah, I'm just wondering, is there any other social media platform that we should be looking at, or any other tools that we need to be looking at that would help us with our digital, I guess, strategy
I
on
think
top of LinkedIn?
I think LinkedIn's where you want to really go hard.
Okay.
Like where I've talked to you, that's what I would be doing
Yeah.
from what I
Okay.
understand, and the email, strategy and outreach. So really, just make sure that is it LinkedIn or not, and if
Yeah.
it is,
Okay.
I would go.
Yeah.
You should be aware of like the SEO stuff. You should be aware of when you were spending on Google Ads. I'm sure you didn't have any opportunity to lead capture. So I could see on your website, like there was no pop-ups coming up.
Okay.
But
So is that on our website you're talking about?
yeah, like if I
Okay.
land on your website and it says you're doing waste management, and then it's got like, get in touch or call this number. But there's lots of things like reports and stuff you can give on how to waste manage effectively or something. Hey, download this, 10-step waste management strategy for manufacturing or small manufacturers report. Then you get the email, because you're always trying to create the next touch point. So you have to or they landed, I don't know where you were putting the Google ads, where you were landing them, but they should be on that page. Like, leave your name and number, we'll give you a call, and we'll give you a 15-minute free call, to run you through how to improve your waste management. So you're always trying to capture the details. You don't have to pay again to get that person to come back again.
Okay. That's a good piece of advice. I haven't thought about that before. Definitely. Yeah, because we're not from the tech background, in the sense that we're not from the software coding background, so we don't often think about those things. And, we're more about the ideas and how we can change, rather than think about the digital side of it.
Yeah, how you can put some more opportunities to capture data, because once you have data, you can do so much more in recontacting.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, cool. Excellent. I think really great piece of advice that I've got from you, which is good. I think I'll start to put that in action. Amazing. And see what sort of difference we can have in the next 6 months.
Exactly. Love the long-term view. Well, thank you so much. I just think what an interesting thing, and I think I can see you're going to have lots of success. You've got a really nice niche and a really good need. So it's just about branding, and I think branding is about content, because people go, I want branding. That's it's content, really good content, establish a brand, and really good content is in your personal story. So do that. I'm really excited to see, and reach out, like, if I can help in any way. And I hope everyone else watching, I hope you got a lot out of that. We had a really good discussion on LinkedIn. So thanks for joining in.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Mel.